turkey, but it was about the same size. So you work at Dunn's.
Indeed.
And we could definitely make some exchanges then. I'm all for it.
I mainly just want to go over like hunting strategies and like what your thought process is.
Like pretty much like public land strategies.
Basically, and also going into, you know, which you prefer, like Maryland or PA hunting, and like why you would prefer that.
The difference between probably PA and Maryland for their state land is probably the access. So like besides like your big state forest, where they're like you can pull off the road and hunt anywhere. Like I don't want to give away places, but like where you hunt, there's big like squares or whatever. So how many access points can you, from the back of the game lands, can you access from there? Same spot where you can access the front. Can you both go there and meet up? So that means those deer are getting pressured from the back, the sides, the front. That's a big deal. So like no matter how far, you can just park at this spot and go the whole way back in, but Joe over here can push them out right there from just parking at that end.
So that's where ends up pushing them all out.
That's what, yeah, exactly.
So if you're hunting state property, you want to try to find somewhere that's surrounded by like private property.
Exactly. And then maybe like I can't find anybody that'll let me really hunt private land anymore. It's getting harder and harder every year.
It is getting harder.
People will let me park to access certain points and go in. That's your biggest thing. State ground's good at borders private. They're not going to see that line there and be like, oh, I can't go in there. Like, I can't go in there. That's private ground or public ground. So you just, all about it is your access points. Because when I started hunting Maryland, I was going to your main parking lot, slamming my truck door, and I was walking down to the end of the field as far as I go. I'm like, all right, I'm tired. Not to see deer, but as the season goes on, you see less and less and less.
Because the hunting pressure just builds up.
Yeah. So it's all about access points, the hardest part, and then just keeping it quiet. Tag, I mean, sounds bad. I mean, everybody wants to hunt public land and be successful, but you can't just tell everybody. Then get your couple people you trust and do it that way.
Okay, so another question going along with like the hunting strategies and whatnot is when you're looking at property or public land, you're probably looking at an Arrow map or something. You probably piece it together. So what are your thoughts and what you're looking for to make that look like a good spot that you would want to hunt?
The best success I've had is crops.
Crops? Yeah. Okay. So what kind of crops are you looking for?
Corn and beans.
Corn and beans?
That's for your early season though, but then it always changes. They will stay away from the corn. You can probably hit them all year round depending on the pressure because they come out to eat. But then let's say it's beans and they change colors and stuff, then you want to get your acorns, so you got to find them too. So it all depends on the time. When September comes around, I'm really focusing on corn and beans. That's what, and I'm hunting the edges. I'm not going in the woods at all because that's where they're laying. They're laying close to the water and the food, and they're coming down right at the evening.
So you're sitting at the edge of the woods of the field to catch them coming from wherever they're laying. Okay, and come out and. Usually they change the summer pattern, but in September you can always catch them at that certain point and before they change. Right. And when they change, then you just got to be ready for the next move. See, I know that's sometimes you can get away with when you're hunting in Maryland because it comes in earlier.
Yeah, Pennsylvania is probably I wouldn't say one of the hardest places to hunt, but when it comes to their season, I mean, they come in early October, right when the deer, all their velvet's gone, and they're starting to move.
Yeah, they've already started changing their patterns. So by that point, whatever you were having beforehand, like you would in Maryland, having their early patterns now.
Beans are then yellow. Yep. Corn, but then also when your corn's cut though, that also they feel safe in corn around that October time. They're cutting corn, and you can get in there too.
Yeah, I know they say like within like the first 5 days of cut cornfield is like the best to hunt them because it's all laying on the ground there.
Exactly. That buck there was killed. 1 day after the corn was cut, or was cut that morning, or something like that. So it was real recent. They're not scared of the tractor. They know.
No, they know that's food.
Now, how early do you scout? When do you start scouting, say, Maryland?
Not as early as I probably should. Probably August. I start really hitting it hard. I'll go down in June, July, throw a camera up just to kind of see what inventory is. I won't know if I'd consider that scouting. I'm just kind of seeing what bucks are in the area. If I really want to hit that area, if there's a couple like bucks hanging around that like catch my eye, I'm like, okay. Then August, I'll start hitting it pretty hard.
So August, you have a mindset of where that stand should be.
Yeah. Also, then I've also been hunting the same spot. I've been hunting the last couple of years in the same area.
Oh, I mean, if you got a hot spot.
Yeah,
if you're producing it,
I was gonna say no.
They got food. A lot of anti-hunters around that like to watch them, so that helps. And then they got plenty of food, and they have water and the bedding. They actually have acorns there too. I've killed them up in there until October too. Just them sticking around because they have everything in there.
Right.
But it all depends on the block of property you're hunting. If you can access them from all those points, I think that's one of the biggest keys to like maybe property. I wouldn't say avoid it, but maybe try something else.
So in access, what are your biggest mindsets in that? So obviously you want to get in there quiet as can, in and out, but what are you looking for? Quickest way, or will you take a long way to?
So I won't park in game land parking lots. I think because then you're stomping through where everybody else did. So you got to start. So you might as well do a little homework and start knocking on doors. See if you can park down the road. Imagine you park down the road 500 yards. That's 500 yards more you're covering that other guy might not do it. And then you can also go even further than that, or right off the road. You never know.
That's true.
It's that's been the biggest thing. It's just we're at a parking spot. Everyone's gonna be going through those few spots. That's where they start. So that's even farther back. Because once the deer get some pressure, they're not. They know they don't want to be around people. They've been hunted. They know most of the deer.
Right.
Most deer have been shot at. You would think they know they don't want to be there anymore.
All right, now you were just saying, they're looking for food, water, and cover, and all that kind of stuff. I know that property that I hunted across the street from my house. It just became private or public land. I'm sorry.
Oh,
but my neighbors behind us own it for years, and we've hunted there all the time. And early on, before I was born, when my dad was hunting over there, they were seeing deer nonstop. And then once I was able to start hunting, once I turned 13 and started going out with them, it was like nothing. Now we're surrounded by public land on the opposite side, and there's always guys over there. There's always pressure, but there was still no deer coming through until I want to say it was like 6, maybe 7 years ago. They brought in loggers to log out the whole property.
So
it wasn't until then that we actually started seeing deer. Like I have pictures on my trail camera where I was seeing deer following the machinery that were coming up the hill. Yeah.
So they're hot. Also, when they log though, it also new vegetation stuff like that, but also pretty much treetops.
Right. Like I said, I took you last year, and it's getting thicker now. They barely touch that top side of the hill there. But down through it, you can definitely see the mountain laurel starting to come in thick and all that kind of stuff.
And this is all public.
It's all public now. It didn't used to be.
Yeah, it used to be private.
But this was the first year that it became public. And my dad, this year, that's where he dropped that nice 6-point.
Okay.
So
he had success on public land.
He did, also, yeah.
So
but the thing is, though, I mean, not a lot of people knew about it because it wasn't true. There were still some posted signs around the property, but there were some people that knew about it, that knew that it just became public land.
It gets thicker. That also keeps people out because who all wants to walk through this like mountain laurel? And
if I'm going to see something, I'm going to go through it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
but your average Joe Blow. Also, the biggest thing though is, archery hunting is definitely blown up in the last 10 years more than anything.
Yeah,
yes, it is.
That's everybody. It's almost a fad to do it now.
Well, everybody's hunting with crossbows now.
And then crossbows being legal within the past. It hasn't quite been 10 years. I don't think they've been legal, but it might have been 10 years.
Actually, it has been.
It's been 10 years. Yeah, it probably has been 10 years.
Because the first year I started archery hunting, my dad bought the crossbow.
Yeah.
So it's been 10 years.
So that gets more people out, but still, gun season, you got your average. People just walk around, stuff like that too, and that adds so much pressure.
Mm-hmm. That's why I always hope to kill my deer in archery season before I get the rifle, because once you get the rifle,
there's going to be people out that you haven't seen before.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
It blows up. Now, I'm not sure. I mean, what is it like in Maryland? I know you were talking about it a little bit earlier that there are usually a lot of people there for rifle season in Maryland, but I know around here, like, it's packed with people. It doesn't matter where you go on any state property. It's always packed with hunters here.
But some of the main places were the big parking lots. I think the one day me and 2 buddies went there and we counted 70-some people from the tree stand.
Holy cow!
So I mean, it's absolutely just destroyed. Like, I don't know how deer come, but every year you come back to that spot, we still drive by and check it out, and there's still deer there. So, but it's also public land up here, and then they'll have like a private piece in the middle they can swerve through, so it holds them. It all depends on the area, and too, like where you guys live and stuff like that. I mean, people were born to hunt. That's what they do.
Yeah.
You don't got that anti-hunter out back who has 100 acres. It's like, nobody can hunt in here and stuff like that, too. It makes it harder.
That's a big thing we learned in Ohio. People were at safe zone for the deer. You know, all that public land we're hunting, but all those deer were running straight to that private. Cause
they figure it out.
Yeah,
they know.
That's
a little bit of pressure, but they'll come off. They'll move. They have to.
Yeah, especially when you're hunting like rut time. Like, at some point they're coming through.
Yeah.
But...
Now, I don't do a whole lot of this stuff. I've only ever seen it one time. Down in Delaware, we were out there for vacation. We just had a spare day. There was nothing really going on, so we took a drive to one of the state parks, or like one of the outskirts of the state parks. And there's an area, a hunting area, and they have like a drawing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they have like 90 tree stands set up out there, and it's like the first 90 people or whatever get there.
Yeah.
They draw that. I know, like around here in Pennsylvania, like if you go to Letterkenny, you have to get like a tag for that. You got to put in a drawing, all that kind of stuff.
Same with up north to hunt
like
moose or elk or elk.
Elk's the same way.
Yeah, it's a lottery.
It's a lottery. But I mean, is there anything like that in Maryland or like I haven't even seen it much around here.
Same thing like Delaware. They got certain areas you can draw tags for, and like they only hunt them like 2, 3, 4 times a year.
Right.
Like, less than a dozen times, and like only a certain amount of people come in. They're always producing big deer and stuff out of it. Each game, there's so many different. There's game lands down there that you can't even hunt right next to the other spots. So, I think there's always deer down there because the numbers you can kill. I mean, it used to be unlimited does with a bow, and not everybody. Everybody's like, oh, what am I to do that? But there's some guys that they'll shoot unlimited does with a bow. They'll shoot every doe that walks by. So, just with all the houses and stuff around there, it can hold all those deer. Couldn't they go right back on that state land?
Yeah. It makes a lot of
it's
sense.
definitely. I mean, state land's awesome to hunt if you can. You just gotta figure it out.
You gotta go where people aren't.
I didn't kill.
Yeah.
I didn't kill my first buck on. We've been hunting state land since 2014, so 6 years now, and I mean it took us 3 or 4 years for us to finally start killing decent deer. I finally started getting a couple. My buddies started getting a couple and stuff too, but it took the time to actually really find some areas, and then over time people figure it out. Stuff, your parking spots, and then people start fading in, so you gotta constantly keep moving.
Yeah.
You might have a good spot for a couple years, but could change
someone
it.
Catch on.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened with you, Taylor. You jumped into that guy that had private land from the spot we hunted, and he said, you move your stand, 30 yards that way, you'll actually see bigger deer.
Yeah, he killed, like, the area that we were hunting that we scouted. There's a guy that owns the house right on top of the hill, in the woods, the public land's right behind his house, and he's like, I've killed several big bucks back there, and he was telling us, because he saw where our tree stand was, because he walks his dog back there. There's always deer there, and he's like, if you move your tree stand about 50, 80 yards back into the thick of stuff, he's like, you'll see a lot of more bucks. And we moved it back there, and we had one bed down in front of us, he had an 8-point come up behind us. So we saw a few bucks when we moved.
So you got a solid deer this year.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so tough because that last spot was just so thick.
It was.
It was just you had 2 spots, and you basically were on top of the deer.
Was this early season, late season, or pretty much all through?
It was all throughout the season.
So
every time we sat, we saw deer.
So you just didn't connect.
We just did not connect.
But so this year wasn't a fail at all. Then if you found the deer.
That's what I was telling him. I said it wasn't a failure because we saw bucks about every time we were out. We saw deer every time we were out, and we were close several times.
So you're doing something right. So it needs tweak. And that could change all. I mean, that could change so easily.
We had 8, 6.
We had a big 8 come down,
yeah.
and they were, and he ended up getting within 25 yards of us. But at that point, it was so dark that all you could see was just the outline of his body. You couldn't.
Yeah.
We sat there for another hour, and all we heard was just deer running around.
Yeah, there was 4 bucks around us.
And we just couldn't see them.
So we walked out with the red light, and we only spooked the one, but the big one was still in there.
Yeah, he didn't move.
We got out without jumping him. So, and then other times, like me and my wife went in hunting a couple times. We saw several bucks in there.
Yeah.
So it's like you said. I mean, it was a success last year. We were doing stuff right. We got to tweak some things this year, and I think we can get it this year.
I know you guys have a pretty big schedule. The biggest thing is time off, and when the season first comes off, I'm like, you can hunt, like you want to go hunting right away, but sometimes that's not the best thing. Save till.
Well, see, we got lucky this year. He switched to my rotation, so now we have the same days off, and we share a day with him, and we're off for the first weekend of archery and first weekend of rifle.
Okay.
And then I've planned on a 9 days that I'm taking off for the rut.
I'll probably take off 4 or 5.
Yeah.
What about this year though? You guys got to put in
Yes.
plan because they extended the season this year.
Yes, they
Which
added
is-
another week to November
which is-
20th.
Which is
Plus the Sundays.
Plus
Well,
the
that's
Sunday.
only three
November
Sundays,
15th
though.
is the one Sunday that they added
Yeah, but what
that's,
makes...
That's what season's that though?
for archery. November
archery?
15th.
Okay.
And then they extended it to November 20th.
Yeah, but I thought there was one in turkey season archery and rifle. There should be a Sunday in rifle somewhere.
Yeah, it's
this opening
it's
day.
that opening weekend.
So it's Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday,
Saturday,
Sunday, Monday.
Sunday,
You can
yeah.
hunt 3 days straight.
But then that second week you can't hunt that Sunday. Yeah.
But
Right.
either
Well, yeah,
way, during
still.
rifle season, most of the deer are killed before 8 o'clock, or
Oh,
by
yeah,
8 o'clock.
absolutely,
So
Oh, that first day by
Yeah.
8, 9 o'clock.
I heard 50.
The
I heard
last-
at least
yeah.
120 shots back in Bedford.
The last 8-pointer I shot, I think I shot at like 720
you
something.
remember, like, you got everybody and
Yeah.
their brother coming in and
Yeah.
pushing.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. But some guys they think they can get there just before day breaks. It's like, nah, you got to get out there an hour, 45 minutes at least. And if you're sitting there and you're waiting for these guys to walk in, they're helping you out and they don't understand that.
That's the one thing I don't like
They
about
want that
PA.
extra 15, 20 minutes of sleep. Nah.
Like, most of the PA guys just kill, the basic basket rack 4 or 5.
And I get that. I
Yeah.
mean, that buck up there in the corner would be a prime example of one that should let go. But that's the first. I mean, I killed that's the last buck I killed in PA in a while since that one hanging up in the corner there. So
And then we go out to Ohio and we saw that giant 10 laying on the ground,
11.
That's
11,
Giant
and we
11.
realized
That's
like
upsetting, man.
it's just
Oh, it
it's
was upsetting.
how different states hunt. Like that's how PA. Everybody wants the biggest buck, but PA just kills whatever's legal. That's
And
what,
seeing the same thing, and I don't have a problem with it because you shoot whatever you want and makes you happy. I mean,
Yeah,
if it's a trophy to you, that's fine. You shoot whatever you want, but at the same time, people want to go out there and shoot the big bucks and wonder why they don't see them or kill
You don't
them.
give
so that's a
them
good
time.
thing. Good
Exactly.
and bad thing about the point restriction because once that deer's legal, they'll go kill it.
Yeah, if they see it,
but
it's pretty much dead.
It also helps because it makes the younger bucks more mature.
it does.
Mhm. Yeah, it's back and forth.
It's just that mindset of PA. Like it was totally different in Ohio when we talked to those people at the cabin. They were
Oh,
like,
they were
"Yeah,
so
we'll
different.
let." I showed a picture. I got a small basket rack 8 done. He's like, "Yeah, I'd let that go."
He's
PA,
like
that's a
2
big one.
years. He's like, I'll let that
Yeah.
walk. Yeah, like you said, PA.
Well,
people are like, I'll shoot
PA
that.
has some absolute monsters too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just all about the timing. But like I think what I've been this year I want to change. I haven't killed a buck over 130 inches, so that's my goal. So I'm gonna let deer go to that now. I have other states to go to like North Carolina, South Carolina, and then I'll shoot a smaller buck and stuff like that.
Right.
Be
I mean,
okay
you're
with
paying the
good
money
PA.
to go there.
But around here, I'm gonna start. So you just get to where you want to go. Like you haven't killed a buck in a few years, so
I haven't killed a buck in a decade.
Yeah, so shoot one that's don't sit there and wait for a 120 inch or a 5-year-old buck to come by. Shoot something you'll be happy with, unless you are happy waiting that long.
That's a
Been
thing.
waiting this long.
Well, we also have that luxury of all the doe too. There's a good amount of doe where
Yeah,
It's always
we saw
it's
a
always
problem.
nice shooting a doe early season is awesome because it kind of gets that off your back. Like
You
You
kinda
got
calm down a
something. You
little
got
bit.
something there.
Yeah.
you build up your confidence and stuff like that.
Yep.
I have nothing against shooting does.
I don't shoot them the first day of rifle. Like during the rifle thing.
Well, you
'cause-
can't. In
you can
Pennsylvania,
now.
well,
You
now
can't now,
Now
you
that
can.
first week you couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
So-
my big thing. Like you kill a doe, that first week you're killing 2 or 3 deer, and that these could turn into 160, 140 class deer.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
the big
that
thing.
is
Like
awesome.
Yep.
during the first couple weeks of archery, I could care less about slamming a doe. It's just once it gets into rifle, that's when I'm more finicky
honestly,
about
that's
it.
how a lot of people said there's not deer in PA anymore, which I would disagree with that.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's tons of deer in PA. You might not see as many deer on game lands, but I mean, if you're walking through the same spot every day, why
Yeah.
would some stay on that spot?
Yeah. He said, "You ever hunted bear, and what is your best setup for that?"
See, what the thing is about bear is that they're a soft animal. I mean, you think of a bear, you think you want to shoot the heavy. They're a soft animal. You really don't need that heavy of a setup for them.
Shot
You still-
placement. Probably.
Shot placement is a big deal, but they're a soft animal. You don't have to really. You're not like you don't have to have a setup like elk going out there where it's like all muscle and stuff like that.
Right.
Maybe a grizzly bear, something a little bit bigger like that. It might be a little different. I think if I was bow hunting, then I would pack.
You're packing something a little heavier.
I'd pack. Yeah, I probably would have some pretty good be watching my FOC because I want that as much impact as close to like a bullet hitting that thing.
Yeah.
Now you've shot this year. You're going to Matthews. You've shot basically every bow in the book. Why'd you switch from
I've owned everything but PSE in the last 5 years.
Okay, but you were a big Hoyt man.
I was a big Hoyt man.
So what deterred you from Hoyt buying this new Matthews?
Honestly, there's only one thing that prevented me from trading that bow in over there on a Hoyt, and that's because I shot the RX3, which isn't the new RX4. I haven't shot that yet, but the RX3, I still felt a little bit of vibration in my hand.
So, but once you shot that Triax, it was...
That is the most forgiving bow I've shot out of all of them yet. Where I haven't shot really since the fall. I can pick that bow up and still shoot decent. Obviously, I don't suggest that. You should shoot all year round, but I can still pick up that bow and shoot well with it. So
you're on with Arrow Addicts right now. How'd you link up with them?
When you got in with
probably
them?
met them 4 or 5 years ago. They were just starting out on Instagram, and I sent them a message. And Austin's the one that runs it, and which, dude, if when he graduates college, he's gonna kill some big bucks because he has the prime spots down there.
He's in Virginia, right? Yeah,
and I owe him a couple hunts, so hopefully he watches the video because I owe him a couple hunts because he put me on my biggest deer at 20 yards, and I somehow did not kill it when I had a gun and a bow in the tree with me. That is the first time that I've actually experienced a deer that actually choked me up where I was like flustered and I didn't know what to do. I was not expecting a deer of that quality to come out. It was probably, I don't know, you can't really score them real well when they're on the hoof like that when they're walking around, but it's probably 140-inch 7-point. We couldn't see that one time. I mean, it was crazy. He has it all on film. Deer. You guys can go back and watch. It's all on film. It's crazy. It just blew it. And then when the deer went out to 30 yards for me, he was drinking out of a puddle, and there was a tree in the way. And I'm pretty good at judging yards, but I was flustered. I didn't get a range on him. I didn't know what to do. And I grabbed the gun. He went behind a tree and never saw him again. Got sick to my stomach. Never had a deer that big, that close to me like that. And then I went down this year, and he put me on another deer. He was nice enough to. He hadn't killed anything yet. These 2 years of these bucks, he hadn't killed anything yet. And it's rut time, and he's having me hunt. And so I owe him some hunts when he comes back from college. He runs a good channel, and now he's a guide in North Carolina. So if you guys want to go on a turkey hunt or a deer hunt, it's reasonable in price, and he will be your guide. He's a good dude. He kills some. If you get on his page, he kills some nice bucks too.
Yeah.
So we want to thank Jake for letting us come over here into his basement. Obviously having a lot of these nice mounts and everything to give us a place to...
Just the half of the basement, though.
Yeah, the only half. We won't show you the rest. It's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But we want to thank him for letting us come over and pick his brain a little bit on some questions and some answers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and until our next episode.